You want the moon? Just say the word and I'll throw a lasso around it and pull it down.
Look at the stars. The great kings of the past look down on us from those stars. So whenever you feel alone, just remember that those kings will always be there to guide you.
I don't think it is very useful to speculate on what God might or might not be able to do. Rather, we should examine what he actually does with the universe we live in.
We are all explorers, driven to know what's over the horizon. The most profound discoveries are not necessarily beyond that next star. They're within us, woven into the threads that bind us.
Good morning, happy Tuesday, happy Mars Day. Things are picking up in the solar system, in astrology. How is everybody feeling after the full moon in Cancer last night? Definitely an emotional full moon, so you might still be feeling the after effects of that. Now the moon is in Leo, so a little less emotional, a little more dramatic. Depending on how your full moon went, maybe you're feeling the dramatic after effects. So let me know in the comments how your full moon is feeling. Today we are talking all about Uranus, stationing direct. Very exciting day because Uranus has been retrograde since August 19th. So for the past 6 months or so, the planet of rebellion, innovation, change has appeared to be moving backwards from our vantage point here on Earth. And it has kind of felt like progress has gone stagnant or moved backwards as well. So as Uranus stations direct, we have forward progress resuming. We also have a couple other positive transits to talk about today. However, the moon in Leo is, like I said, definitely bringing the drama. We have some dramatic transits to talk about with the moon. So we're going to go through all of it. As always, ask your questions as we go. And yeah, let's just dive right in. So let me pull up the chart and show you with your own two eyes how Uranus is now direct, no longer has that little R next to it. So if you're ever looking at the chart and wondering, how do I know if a planet is direct or retrograde? Well, let me show you. So we know Venus is retrograde, Mercury is retrograde, and they have that little R next to them on the chart. And same goes for this little side panel over here on AstroSeek. In fact, I'll just widen that a little bit. All of the planets with the R next to them are currently retrograde. But look at Taurus or Uranus and Taurus over here has the ST. That means it is stationing direct today. And you'll also notice, or you might have noticed in the past few weeks, Uranus has just been hanging out at that 10-degree mark because we've talked about this with Mercury, we've talked about this with Venus, but when a planet stations direct or stations retrograde, for a couple weeks before and after, it almost appears to be stagnant in the sky because just our vantage point here on Earth, it's like that pendulum effect. It's kind of swinging one way, it pauses, and then it swings back the other way. So today, Uranus stations direct. But what does that actually mean for us? Well, as I mentioned, Uranus is the planet of change and rebellion and innovation, surprises, breakthroughs. So it might have felt like over the past 6 months, things haven't really been moving forward. But today we press that fast forward or even just the play button and forward progress is resumed. Uranus helps us look to the future and also helps us envision what the future can look like, all of the possibilities. But this planet is also often referred to as the awakener because it's known to bring those sudden changes or surprises or shifts, like I said, breakthroughs. During the backspin of Uranus through the sign of Taurus, you might have found yourself reviewing or reflecting on what causes are important to you, how you show up in your own community. And keep in mind, Uranus also rules technology. So, something that came to mind when I was looking at these transits was the fact that even technological advancements over the past 6 months have seemed a little backwards. For example, think about the space race. Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk. Amazing technological advancement, right? They were able to take civilians to space, kind of the beginning of this commercialization of space travel. However, there was a lot of backlash and a lot of feedback from many people saying, okay, if you're going to spend all these billions of dollars on going to space, how much more effective would that money have been towards fighting climate change or, saving the current planet that we are on? And with Uranus in the sign of Taurus, which rules the physical earth, which rules our physical surroundings, we're very much more aware of the changes going on to the physical earth. So as it's been retrograde, it's like, wait, technological advancements aren't happening in the right areas, or this isn't as effective as maybe we thought it was. Societally, we've really been reviewing what tech advancements are important for our generation, for the future of our planet. So I just thought that was an interesting example. Hopefully any technological advancements now that Uranus is direct will be for the good of everybody and will actually move the needle forward for us here on planet Earth. Not to say that the space race wasn't productive, just, that was the sentiment a lot of people had. And Uranus is also the planet of freedom. So when it stations direct, we can step back into our most eccentric, authentic self. We can be more free expressing ourselves. So, we have Aquarius season starting tomorrow. Aquarius, the modern ruler of Aquarius is Uranus. And so expect people to be a little bit more eccentric, expect to feel maybe a little bit more, I don't want to say goofy, but just unique and comfortable expressing your quirky individual qualities. There are no accidents in astrology, and I love that Uranus is stationing direct right before Aquarius season, so we kind of have this boost of that modern, future, forward-thinking, rebellious, freedom energy that's all tied up in Uranus and Aquarius. And we can really expect to feel that over the next month during Aquarius season. A couple other major transits playing out today. The sun in Capricorn on its very last day in Capricorn, which I'm a little sad that Capricorn season is almost over. I love Capricorn season, and I love my Capricorns, but I also love my Aquariuses, so it's a fun time of year. The Capricorn sun, here he is, 28 degrees in Capricorn, is forming a nice harmonious angle to the North Node. And the North Node, by many astrologers' calculations, is just entering Taurus, Taurus over here, today. So although we have been watching the nodes and they moved into Taurus about a month ago, modern astrologers use a different calculation and are really excited about the nodes actually shifting into Taurus and Scorpio today. So I think it's important to give the North Node a little bit of attention today because of that. A lot of astrologers, if you follow other astrologers, will be talking about that today. And the North Node represents our karmic destiny, while the South Node represents our karmic past. So individually, the North and South Nodes represent the lessons we came into this lifetime already knowing, that we already learned in past lives. That's the South Node. And then the North Node individually represents the lessons we are here to learn, our purpose in this lifetime. But when we're talking about these transits on a collective level, we can talk about them in terms of our collective purpose and the collective lessons we're here to learn. So when the sun in Capricorn forms this nice flowing harmonious angle to the North Node in Taurus, we are easily aware of our purpose here. We are conscious of the direction that we're heading. Really, again, there are no accidents, and with Uranus going direct today, it's, like I said, almost forward motion, forward progress is resuming in this nice harmonious angle between the North Node and the Sun, which is playing out at 9:30, so it's just coming into that harmony as we speak, can help us understand what we're here to do, why we're here, what lessons our generation is here to learn. We're all on planet Earth here at this very moment, at least I believe, to work together and raise consciousness together. And so we will be more aware of that today. And this transit, this nice trine, this 120-degree angle between the North Node and the Sun gives us the ambition and the determination to hold the highest vision of what our generation can achieve. I really think today is a day to think in terms of the collective rather than yourself. And if you are feeling called, hold that vision of what you hope the world will look like. Hold that vision of peace and harmony and everybody getting along. I think, deep down, we would all appreciate that, but it's much easier said than done. So if we can all just hold that vision a little bit today, we can all be part of moving the needle forward. And on an individual level, personally, we'll be feeling that harmony with our purpose as well. So that can help us hold that collective vision if we know what we individually are here to do. And those thoughts, those feelings should come more easily today. We can express our purpose more easily with this trine between the Sun and the North Node. And the last transit we're talking about today happens at 6 p.m. Mercury Retrograde in Aquarius over here forms a nice sextile to Chiron, the wounded healer, a 60-degree angle between these two planets. And although Chiron isn't a major planet, it's that icy outer body in our solar system known as the wounded healer. It represents our deepest wounds, our ability to heal them, and by doing so, our ability to heal others. When Mercury forms a supportive angle to Chiron, this can look like healing conversations, or because Mercury is retrograde, it can have you reflecting on pain from the past as well. So as you're looking back, as you're remembering, even if it's involuntary, try to see the situation from a new perspective. Mercury in Aquarius can help us do that, can help us keep an open mind. So if you're willing to see things in a new light, you could find great healing under this aspect around 6 p.m. Pacific time. Because, retrogrades aren't all bad. Mercury retrograde being the most notorious one, can help us review, help us look back, help us revise, make adjustments, make edits needed for us to get closer to our fullest potential. So that sextile to Chiron, beware, it could bring up painful past experiences, but try to go into it. You're already here, you're already aligning with the energy. Try to go into it with an open mind and with the intention of shifting your perspective, seeing things differently. And, sometimes reflecting on painful past experiences, seeing them through a new lens can help you see the situation entirely differently. And that can be incredibly empowering and incredibly healing. So I would just encourage you to keep an open perspective if any painful emotions or memories do come up today. All right, let's talk about the moon in Leo. The moon moved into Leo just after it became full last night. So you can see that on our chart here, still at, I just realized we are not at the right time. Here we go. So the moon's at 6 degrees in Leo now. And the moon, I believe, has it made any connections yet? Okay, it has made one connection, an awkward angle to Jupiter over here in Pisces. Not quite an opposition, an imbalanced angle. Most Jupiter transits can have us feeling energized and excited, but with this awkward angle between the moon and Jupiter, let me just backtrack for a second. The moon is in Leo. We talked about this a little bit at the beginning of the live stream, but I see this as coming off of the full moon, which is a time to release now that the moon is waning and it's losing light a little bit every night. The full moon in Cancer really made us aware of our deepest emotions, especially those emotions stored deep in our body. You know, the moon in Cancer really puts the focus on the body and the emotions. Now that the moon is in Leo, it's more of an external energy and it can help us move those emotions out of us. So moving your body, getting your heart pumping as Leo rules the heart, that can be a really powerful release of deep emotions that might have come up for you during that full moon. And the assignment of the Leo moon is to have fun and play. So if you are leaning into movement, have a little fun during your workout. Even if you are working today and just kind of going through the motions, try to find some fun or some playfulness in whatever you're doing. However, I always say this under the Leo moon, don't let your inner toddler take the wheel if you're feeling emotional, because Leo energy can bring out that fun inner child part of us, but if we're feeling emotional, the inner child can take over a little bit and it can look kind of like a temper tantrum. So fair warning, let's not do that to anybody around us today. So that awkward angle to Jupiter at 4 a.m. Pacific time means a lot of people started their day feeling like, oh, we want to be energized, we want to feel amazing under the Leo moon, we're craving that fun, that movement, but that imbalanced angle to Jupiter makes it more difficult to be optimistic, to be flexible. So it might feel like we have 1 foot forward and 1 foot kind of planted in the present moment. So it's kind of like this push-pull, trying to find balance dynamic there. If you aren't feeling 100% just yet, I can't promise that today is going to be an awesome day for you, but I can promise that the moon's transits don't last very long. So anything that's coming up, any stagnant energy, like I said, movement is your friend. Try to move it out of you, but also know that the moon is constantly moving, constantly making other connections, which is why our emotions are constantly fluctuating. By noon Pacific time, the moon is opposing Mercury retrograde and at the same time making a connection to the wounded healer Chiron. So let's jump ahead a couple hours here. The moon opposing Mercury retrograde. Okay, so an opposition is like that make or break energy. You can see the moon over here in Leo and Mercury opposite the moon in Aquarius. This can cloud our rational mind because our emotions and our mind, the moon ruling our emotions, Mercury ruling our mind, are opposing each other, which means we can kind of swing back and forth between overanalyzing, overusing our mind, and overreacting, overusing our emotions, really struggling to find that middle point between our thoughts and our emotions. It's like a tug-of-war effect. Meanwhile, that harmony with Chiron makes it very easy for those past painful experiences to resurface. So this can feel like it's really hard to relax middle of the day today. Really try to give yourself a break, slow down if you're feeling overwhelmed, or as I've been saying the whole time we've been talking about the Leo moon, move your body, have fun, play, try to move that energy out of you if you can. But today is not a great day to make decisions, to be honest with you. It's really not a great day to make judgments or to make any sudden moves. I would not make any sudden moves today with what's going on with the moon. So we have an opposition to Mercury retrograde at noon, and then by 4 p.m. Pacific time, so as people are starting to wind down their day, wherever you are observing these transits from, the moon squares off to Uranus, which just went direct, as we talked about. So a square is our most tense transit that we talk about, and you can see the moon here in Leo, 90 degrees away from Uranus in Taurus. When this happens, it really makes us want to take those impulsive actions. It makes it feel like we need to do something immediately. We have this strong urge for change or excitement, but following those impulses will likely lead to conflict or fallout under this aspect. The 90-degree angle, the square, tends to bring about conflict because these two energies are conflicting each other. Our emotions, ruled by the Leo moon, are very fixed in the sign of Leo. And then Uranus in the sign of Taurus is also a very fixed energy. Both of these planets are in fixed signs, meaning they don't really like to compromise. They don't really like to change or adjust or what's the word I'm looking for? Like concede. So yeah, we have Uranus craving that excitement, that rebellion, change, activating our emotions, making it's almost like that whisper in your ear, like, do something, like the devil on your shoulder, like, do something, do something. Don't listen to it, okay? Don't listen to it. Just try to, like I said, if you're feeling the need to do something, move your body, focus on the self, focus on moving your own energy. And the last transit we'll talk about today is yet another opposition between the moon and Saturn, and at the same time an awkward angle to Venus. So we have a couple different mashups of transits with the moon today, and that happens at 10 p.m. So we'll just jump ahead a few hours, and you can see it on our chart here. The moon in Leo opposing Saturn in Aquarius, and then Venus is over here also at 13 degrees, one sign over. So that's that awkward angle, that imbalanced angle. And how I see this transit playing out, maybe some of you will already be asleep depending on where you live at 10 p.m. Pacific time, but this can make us feel more isolated or distant, more emotionally shut down. It's, you know, this awkward angle to Venus retrograde at the same time is again bringing up those past emotions about relationships or insecurities, about partnerships, and our ego can really flare up under this transit because we're feeling a little bit distant. We're feeling like we kind of want to be better off alone. Isolation isn't necessarily a bad thing late tonight if you're feeling overwhelmed by your emotions, as long as you are intentional about the time you're taking away. Because, you know, Saturn can be a little bit depressing. It can have a limiting effect on our emotions. And if you're not quite feeling up to having conversations or being able to show up as the best version of yourself in relationship, it is okay to say, you know, I'm not feeling my best tonight. Can we just talk about this tomorrow? Just make sure you're doing it in a kind way. This looks like a lot of introspection about past relationships, a lot of introspection about current commitments, or reviewing long-term goals in relationships, making any adjustments to long-term relationships that you feel need to be made in order for it to stand the test of time. So, you know, just try to be gentle under this Leo moon. We tend to be more dramatic. We tend to want to light off all the fireworks, but if you can move through these transits with intention, with grace, giving grace to other people, being very aware of other people's emotions around you, you shouldn't have too hard of a time with these moon transits today. But all I see when I look at all the transits today is just like impulse, impulse, impulse. Like just wanting, craving some sort of action or excitement now that Uranus is direct. We do have, you know, positive angles, giving us a glimpse of our purpose, giving us a little bit of direction, a little bit of clarity, but for the most part with Mercury retrograde, Venus retrograde, both being activated by the moon, both being activated by Chiron. Yeah, we're really feeling that retrograde energy, even though we have a planet stationing direct. But of course, the planet stationing direct is the planet of change and upheaval and rebellion. So it's a wacky day today, you guys. Let's do an overview and then we will pull a card. So today we have the planet of change, innovation, and rebellion stationing direct. Uranus has been retrograde since August 19th, making it feel like we've pressed pause or even rewind on the progress button. Now that this planet is starting to move forward again, we can expect more forward progress to happen and a clearer vision of the future. We also have several other supportive aspects between the Sun and the North Node helping us align with our direction and our purpose in this lifetime. And Mercury Retrograde gets support from Chiron, giving us the potential for healing conversations if we don't let past pain overwhelm us too much. The moon in Leo definitely amps up the dramatics, making a lot of awkward and tense connections with planets all throughout the day, giving us an opportunity to release any stored emotions through movement. Just be careful not to be too impulsive or too reactive or let your inner toddler take the wheel if you are feeling emotionally activated. The Leo moon can make it feel like everyone needs to know how we're feeling and all of our emotions are on a stage. But remember to really focus inward, focus on the self, and make sure you're showing up as the best version of yourself, regardless of whatever conflict or tension is happening around you. All right, that's what's going on today. Good morning, Danny. Thanks for being here, and good morning to you, Susan. Yeah, is this why I feel so irritable today? Possibly, yes. I mean, we also just did have a full moon, which kind of drums up a lot of those deep emotions, especially with that full moon in Cancer. So just give yourself grace if you're feeling irritable. But, we started the morning with an awkward angle between the moon and Jupiter, which makes it hard to be optimistic or outgoing. And we're coming into an opposition with Mercury retrograde with the moon. So yes, irritable, definitely a possibility today. But like I said, just try to, movement is your friend. Try to focus on clearing that energy by getting it out of your body. Just don't take it out on anyone else. All right, we're going to pull from the Universe Has Your Back deck, just a nice, simple message to start our Tuesday. What do we need to know? What do we need to know today? I love this. I am the dreamer of my dream. I am the dreamer of my dream. Great message for Uranus stationing direct today, reminding us to hold that vision. We talked about this a little bit during the live stream. But Uranus is the visionary planet, and as we're starting Aquarius season tomorrow, Aquarius is kind of known as the visionary as well. So this is a good reminder to reflect on what vision you are holding for your life, what vision you are holding for the collective. And remember that you're the dreamer of your dream. Not everybody else is holding the same vision as you, but by simply keeping that clear image in your mind and holding on to the future that you are hoping will manifest, you're creating a powerful energetic impact. Your vision, your dream is powerful, even if it only exists in your mind. So remember, you are the dreamer of your dream. You have the possibility and the capability to make anything manifest that you desire. You are the dreamer of your dream. I am the dreamer of my dream. Love that so much. A nice simple message for our Tuesday. So tomorrow we're going to be talking all about Aquarius season, what's to come, the energy ahead, the major transits that will be following throughout Aquarius season. And like I said, a little sad Capricorn season is ending, but I am also very excited for Aquarius season, especially now that Uranus is direct and it feels like the year is kind of starting to pick up some momentum. I think this Aquarius season will likely bring about some shifts, some change, some progress that is much needed. So I'm excited to talk all about that tomorrow. And then this afternoon, in just a couple hours at 11 a.m. Pacific time, we have our next episode of The Spiritual Journalist. And it's an episode that I have been wanting to do for a while. It's a conversation that needs to be had, and I'm really grateful to my friend Riva Jean-Paul for agreeing to come on and have this talk with me. It's all about the importance of diversity in the spiritual space and why it's so important to have diverse representation and share different perspectives, hear different voices when we're talking about spirituality. And when we're building this community, this show, this live stream isn't just about me. My goal here is to build a community with you, have a conversation with you, and allow you to have those conversations with each other, allow you to connect with each other. And of course, as I'm doing that, it's really important to me that everybody feels welcome to participate in these conversations, to tune into these live streams, and not just the spiritual journalist, my live interviews, but also these daily astrology live streams. So Riva and I will be having a really open, vulnerable, raw conversation about diversity, about what she's experienced as she has become more and more involved in the spiritual community, and how we can be a part of that progress, that change, as we've just been talking about, moving forward. So I'm really excited for our conversation. I really hope you can tune in at 11 a.m. as well, because I would like this to be sort of an open forum. I would love to hear your input. I would love to hear your questions as well. I'm not going to pretend like I know all the right things to ask or all the right things to say about this topic. So you are more than welcome. If you can't catch the live stream at 11 a.m. Pacific time, you can also catch the replay or listen to our conversation as a podcast when we publish it either later tonight or early tomorrow morning. So lots going on over the next couple days. I hope to see you in these upcoming conversations. I hope you have a fantastic Tuesday, and I'll see you right back here tomorrow morning. But until then, stay curious. Thank you so much for joining us and aligning with the energy of the universe today. If you enjoyed this morning's episode of Transits Today, you can join our live astrology discussion every weekday morning right here wherever you're watching. And head to thespiritualjournalist.com to read your daily astrology forecast and browse the Spiritual Shop. The most fun way to help keep these forecasts free and support more content like this is to buy yourself a little something on our website. But if you're feeling extra generous, you can also buy me a coffee to fuel future live streams. Just tap the link in the description or head to buymeacoffee.com and search The Spiritual Journalist. And speaking of, you can also tune in to The Spiritual Journalist, our weekly live interview where we ask our guests questions about everything from crystals and manifestation to mental health and the environment. Those conversations stream live right here wherever you're watching now every Tuesday. I'm so grateful you found us here, and I can't wait for our next conversation.